Sorry, I clicked go live a little bit quicker than I intended to.
It's all good.
So, on that note, welcome to Sofa City Sounds, and please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me. My name is Lexi Rabideau. I also go by Riot Rhisto online, and I am the co-owner of SPMD Promotions and Bitch Fest.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. So,
Yeah.
okay, let's just get right into Bitch Fest. You got okay, I said this earlier and I got it right. You got 12 venues, 4 weekends, 53 bands.
Yeah.
I where do you find the time? First of all, let's start there. Where do you
Uh,
find the time to organize something that large?
I mean, we kind of started a bit late too, so everything's just kind of been pretty chaotic. But we opened submissions in November or October,
Yeah.
and we went through everything. I think December and started putting the lineups together. And I work from the time I wake up until the time I go to sleep, uh, and that's how I've been able to pretty much get everything settled and done. It's been just nonstop.
It's work. It's work.
It
People
is.
don't
It
realize,
is.
like, I mean, anybody in the industry, a portion of people that are not in the industry don't understand how much work behind the scenes it is because they only see the end result of all the work.
And that's
Right?
exactly it. Yeah, a lot of people don't see the process of what happens to make those shows happen.
Yeah. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of group chats. A lot of conversation. There's a lot of dates. There's some arguments. There's some disagreements. I mean, it comes in all forms until it's pulled together.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's always like sometimes there's small mistakes that you have to go back and correct, or you're especially when you're flying off the seat of your pants, you've got to really prepare yourself for anything. Like a band can drop, and now you need a replacement, or a venue needs to change the time of their load in, and you're like, fuck, I've got to tell everybody now.
Yeah.
And so there's literally so many things that can happen that you just kind of have to be prepared for.
Yeah. You have to be prepared for everything and not knowing what any of that everything is.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I completely. Okay, Ronald, leave Aura alone while she can't move. I have a Sphinx cat, and he tortures the dog. So he just came like running in the room and ran underneath the dog's feet, knowing she can't go anywhere. So, but yeah, no, it is absolutely a lot of work. And you had mentioned like a venue changes times, and if you have out of towners, that could mean like total chaos. You know,
Yeah. It can be complete chaos. And, we do have a lot of bands coming in from out of town. So, like, even gear sharing has been something that's been up in the air a little bit, because we're like, well, usually we'll have our locals do a gear share. But then also, like, we're working to try to get backline. So just to eliminate that for the bands themselves, because it does make it more difficult for them to have to lug everything, especially when it's March and like it snowed today. So like, yeah.
Yeah. No, I absolutely hear that. Weather in March is hit or miss. Like, my kid was born March 11th. She shares a birthday with Vinnie Paul. And you'd think going in the hospital in March, it was fine. It was lovely. It was gorgeous. The day after, when I needed to leave, it was a blizzard and we couldn't leave for 2 extra hours. Right.
Yeah.
So weather is very, very hit or miss. And that changes times too.
Yeah,
And
it really does.
yeah, and like the end result is always great, no matter what. The harder the work, the crazier the chaos. I think the better the payoff. But
Yeah.
it's nice to be able to sit and have this conversation, and actually talk to somebody and tell people about what it's like behind the scenes, because it gets crazy. Okay, it does. It gets crazy. Mia, can you get her food, please? Thank you. Her food is in the closet now. So yeah, it does. It gets crazy, but the payoff is fantastic, and I saw some of the bands on your list. I'm familiar with some of them. I know a few of them. And you have some dynamite people, dynamite bands in your lineup. So let's talk about that. Like, can you give us a few bands that are on the list?
So when it comes to our headliners, we have the Filthy Radicals, Wise Guys, Cross Dog. We have a metal band called Kavara from London.
I love them.
We also have Mall Crime. They're incredible human beings and like just an amazing band. We have Shit Happens coming in from Winnipeg. And then we have Kenda and Chuck Cole from the Creep Show coming in with their band Cunt.
Cool. Right
Yeah.
on. That was a nice surprise. I didn't see that on the and I pulled the posters for my kid to make the promo, and I missed that.
Yeah, I feel like it's in the writing underneath where it says CNT. It says Kenda and Chuck Cole from the Creep Show, but it's in white and it's kind of small because I don't want that to be the main attraction. And also, Cross Dog is actually the headliner on the show. So, as much as we love Kenda and Chuck, sometimes the big players step back a little bit to let the new big players have room.
Yeah, and that's one of the beautiful parts about this industry is being able to intertwine the big and the little and the new and the old, and see what comes out of it. It's nice
Absolutely.
being able to mix the newbies and the veterans and see how things go.
Yeah, for sure. And it's one of the things that I found with the festival was that it was actually a lot of the bands that we got are not much older than 10 or 11 years. They're not all that seasoned, but like these are female femme-led bands, trans bands, like that progression to see like this season. Like I'm very active in the punk community, especially in Toronto, and I know a lot of the seasoned musicians.
Yep.
There's so many amazing bands. Like you've got Gag Order, you've got Ripcord, you've got Dayglow Abortion, DOA. You have all these amazing old bands, even the Retards. Like so many great prominent Toronto. Yeah, so many great Toronto prominent bands that have been out for 40 plus years. But they don't, even though they are so prominent in the community, they don't fit the criteria for being in this festival because they're all dudes. And to see them pooling behind and like promoting it, like I've seen Random Killing, I've seen Dutch share the festival a couple times now, and every time I'm like, holy shit, thank you. So we see a lot of support from the older folks. But yeah, a lot of the bands that are playing are like young and fresh and have a lot to offer the genre and the community itself. And this fest is such a great way for those seasoned musicians to come out and see these newer bands too, and get that experience and be like, holy shit, they're really good. And, start supporting these bands a little bit more and even playing with them at other shows.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's how we keep our scene alive. I've seen the argument where shows should be all ages, shows should be 19 plus. I think we should have both, to be honest with you, because I mean, my kids come to shows with me, but on the same token, I also enjoy a good pit where I don't need to worry about my kids.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
So it's nice to be able to mix that. But if we don't have those all ages shows, if we don't have those mini pits with the veterans pushing around the little kids and stuff like that, we're not going to be able to continue to keep on with with the music that we like, that we enjoy, and that we want to continue on through further generations. So it's nice to see that you are taking this festival from every angle and putting it all on the table, stage, but table. Like you're really you're doing a fucking good thing, man. You really are.
Thanks, man. I mean, I can't take full credit for everything. My business partner Ashley, she really set a really great foundation for the festival the last previous 2 years. were really, I guess the first year was really a big learning experience for her team. Last year I came in and I helped mostly with like press and being at the shows, and kind of seeing what was going on behind the scenes. And that being able to be there and have that experience and to have that foundation that she laid out, to have that to build on for this year and to brand it, between the foundation that she laid and my branding, we've been able to do really well to get to get people to support the festival and to know that it exists and it's something that we're doing. So it's been great, and Ashley did such a wonderful job really figuring out how the semantics of how it should run, and I've been able to really take that and grow with it.
That's awesome.
And alongside her, so it's been really great.
That's fantastic. It's so wonderful when you have a business partner that not only knows you, but knows everything you don't. It is so wonderful when you have that ebb and flow. My publisher and I have been together for 15 years, and it's one of the most wonderful, not only work relationships, but relationships in general that I have. She knows how to do everything I don't. I do everything that she doesn't do, and it creates perfect chaos. It creates a perfect storm, and it's so fun. Oh, we got a couple of people watching. Timothy Cush, Tommy Graisley, and my brother Adam all popped in to say, what's up, rock and roll, and hello.
Hello.
Tommy's he's an old school rocker out of Hamilton that I will give a quick shout out to. He just released an album on February 2nd. Tommy, I'm so sorry for not remembering what the name of the album was, but I've got Bitch Fest on the brain right now. So, yeah. Oh, and Matt from Toronto, he's at every show that I'm at. He's moving away to Cornwall after Friday. There's a huge party at the Rock Pile for them. Matt, I don't know if I'm going. I'm sorry. But there's our hellos and there's our people. I don't know if you can see them, but there is a chat down at the bottom. If you're on your phone, the screen might be a little bit small.
Yeah.
So, but I'll make sure that when people pop in, we know we're there. I'll make sure for sure. So,
cool.
That was a terrible sentence. So let's get into it. How did Bitch Fest start? What's the origin?
So I feel like Ashley would have more of an explanation of how she got into doing Bitch Fest.
Okay.
But from my understanding, during the pandemic, she was fundraising to help the Toronto music venues stay alive a little bit and stay afloat.
Yeah.
Because obviously venues were struggling a lot, and not having venues meant not having shows.
Right.
So she really used that opportunity to, whenever she could put on a show, she was doing that.
Yeah.
But then I guess her and our old partner Kyla had decided that they wanted to do something more STEM-based. So they created the festival to focus on STEM bands and trans bands. And that first year they had, I think, 6 shows the first year. And the 2 of them were able to do that through COVID. They didn't even really know it was going to happen because with all of the lockdowns and everything, everything was just kind of up in the air and it was so chaotic, but they managed to make it happen the best they could. And then last year, things were just finally opening up. So we were able to go out and do some community events. The community events didn't end up pulling too well, but the shows did great. We did 7 of them last year. I was brought in last year to do harm reduction and mutual aid. So that was where I was kind of focused last year, as well as doing like press release and some marketing, just like the things that where I already had strength, because I already had previously worked with like in film and in magazines as well. So that was already something that I was pretty strong at. And yeah, so I guess that's kind of how it started. Was Ashley was just like, you know what, I'm fucking tired of this boys club, and we should do something that focuses heavily on femme bands and non-binary people and gender non-conforming human beings and trans people and just like people who are in, for lack of a better word right now, marginalized communities, where they that spotlight isn't always on them, and it's hard to intermingle, and it's hard to build the community up if we're not being more inclusive. So the festival is a really great way for us to show our inclusivity within the city, and to have some of our boy bands, they call us girl bands, so why not, to have some of our boy bands sit out for a little while, come out and support the women in your community, because there's so many amazing women out here who don't get seen as often as you guys, because you're all taking up the room.
Somebody once said to me, the music industry is just one big dick swinging contest. And I went, well, my balls are so big, they sit on my chest. And I think that saying goes for a very large portion of the community. We all work very hard to get to where we are. And as much as there are a lot of the boys in the club that accept us and don't look at us any different than anybody else, there's a few that give us a hard time, this is a good way to say, hey, listen, like we appreciate that you think your dick's bigger than ours, but and not to say they're all like that, because every band that I have worked with to date, I don't think there's one I've had an issue with. And I have 90 to 95% of the people I work with are men.
Yeah.
So, but I can say Niagara is mostly female run. It's myself, Jillian Underhill, Christy Hales, Sue Ann Chimay. We got a pretty nice lineup down here. So I think there's a lot of great men that are coming around. Hey, Robbie, what's going on? And Steve, what's going on, Steve? Oh, Jesus. No, my DMs won't be full of dick pics, because I dress them up in cowboy hats and then send them to your mothers. I only got one. I put a cowboy hat on it. I put a tie on it. And then I sent it right back to his mother. And I posted that on Facebook. And that was the last time I ever got a dick pic from anybody. So... I mean, I guess the perfect first line of defense.
That's really.
Robbie Soper says that we rock far harder than the men do, and he can say that with confidence. He's seen a lot of crowds in front of his stages. So
Robbie would be.
So I take that as a compliment. So. Right on. And Steve's laughing at us. So, kudos to you guys, man. You and Ashley and anybody else that is working with you guys to put this festival together, because and doing the things that you're doing and running it throughout the month and stuff. Like, I know a lot of the work has already happened, the bands, the scheduling, the set lists, the gear chats and stuff like that. But like, you're going to put on a whole brand new set of running shoes on during the festival. It's a whole different ball game when you're actually in it. Right.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. Ashley and I have both been basically counting down the days, until we get there, because really that's when the chaos actually starts, where like somebody's running late, all of a sudden there's a snowstorm. What's going to happen? Like, there's so many things that we need to be prepared for. The chaos was definitely prominent last year, and with a couple more shows this year, 5 more shows than last year.
Nice.
I guess 5 plus. There's a couple of shows that are unannounced at the moment that are also going to be happening as Bitch Fest shows.
Cool.
But they're not officially out yet.
Okay.
They're going to be pop-ups. So people will see them pop up when we're ready to announce them.
Awesome.
So there's a lot going on for the month. And then, yeah, on top of that, just like regular shows that we have, and like I book tours in between. So,
Cool. That's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. I'm super excited for you. It's awesome when you're flowing like that and you've got shows on the go and you got things happening and you look fantastic too, by the way. So like maintaining everything and still being able to maintain it's a lot. It's a lot. So
Yeah, I mean,
God, and
I
you're
feel like
right now too, no?
I'm what?
You're in Quebec right now too, no?
No, I was going to be in Ottawa today,
Oh, right.
but yeah, I was going to be in Ottawa today, but I ended up sitting out because I also have like back problems and 3 kids. So I decided to sit out
Yep.
for this one, but, you know, everybody's running the shows. They're already prepared. You know, it was kind of a toss-up whether or not I was going to be there today anyways. But yeah, I decided to just stay home and relax. I've got this whole month coming up.
Yep.
So I really need to just focus on the shows that we're trying to do and put together.
Yep.
So, but the show tonight in Ottawa, if anybody is in Ottawa and might watch this, there is a show at the House of Cards in Ottawa tonight with the You and Me, who will be playing in Toronto on Saturday at Seascape with some other bands.
That's awesome. You have some killer bands lined up. You work with some dynamite people. That's awesome. Just give me 1 second. Mia, can you please grab her the rest of her bowl of food, please? Sorry, I just didn't want to yell into the mic.
Oh, it's all good.
Usually I have like a whole bunch of stuff set up around her, but I can't find her peanut butter Kong. And I'm out of treats that fit in her treat Kong. So we're kind of winging it tonight. Last week, we had a hot sauce challenge, and she ended up licking a piece of pretzel that had hot sauce on it. Oh. Yeah, I mean, she was fine when I took her outside. But I didn't know what to do for her. I didn't know how to cool her down, or I gave her water. I knew I shouldn't give her milk, but I gave her a little bit of milk. She was not happy. So can you grab her a little bit more food, please, so I can distract her just a little bit longer? Please? Thank you. So just a little bit more, please. So yeah. So all right. Well, let's get back to this. What else on top of Bitch Fest? Because you are a busy human being. What else on top of Bitch Fest do you have going on? You mentioned you had something happening at the Doors.
Okay, so what do I have going on? So tonight I have a show in Ottawa at the House of Cards with Forks, 86-It, and the You and Me. And that is starting probably in the next half an hour.
Cool.
And then this Saturday, I have a show in Toronto at Seascape with Dragged In, Vestigio, Wasted Age, High Anxiety, and the You and Me. And there's an acoustic opener named Jesse West. And then next week, we have 2 shows in Toronto, one at Seascape with Lucid Smog Disorder, Avalon Stone, and Sunless. Nice. And then the next day we have Stewart and the Avenues, Wordplay, New Anthem, and Ian BW. And then Saturday, my friend Bowser has a show, and I usually like to go to Bowser shows. So he has a show on Saturday, so I'll be there.
Cool.
Next month, we have all of Bitch Fest, but I also booked a tour for a band from Winnipeg called Shit Happens.
Yep, I think we're going to be on the show actually in March 14th. We haven't confirmed yet because they play on the 16th in Welland.
In Welland, yes. So they're playing on the 13th in Chicago. And that's my first show that I've ever booked in the U.S.
It's awesome.
So they're playing at a place called the Liars Club. And it's a shit show. So it's Shit Happens, Shit Is In, and Holy Shit.
It's amazing.
Are the 3 bands. And then the next day they're going to be in London. And like on the 14th, they're going to be in London. And then on the 15th, they're playing Bitch Fest at Ground Control with Mall Crimes, High Anxiety, Iron Moose, and Skybite. And then they're going to be in Welland on the 16th. On the 17th for St. Patty's Day, they're playing with the world famous Tall Boys, Ship of Fools, and the Mad Murdoch.
Oh, that's awesome. What a lineup.
Yeah, it's a really good lineup. And then on the 20th, they're going to be at the House of Targ in Ottawa with Alterna, Brutal Play, and Good Sick. And then they have a couple other shows. I didn't book them, but they're going to be in Montreal, Quebec City, Cornwall, and Belleville. And those were with other promoters. But I did their 5 shows for them out of their tour. And then in April, I haven't announced it yet. So, but in April, I have a touring folk punk artist named Black Guy Fox.
Cool.
So he's playing Camp Punksylvania. He played Camp Punksylvania last year with Riot Squad, who are one of our supporters for Bitch Fest.
Cool.
Amazing women. They do Camp Punksylvania in Scranton, Pennsylvania every year.
Yeah. Cool.
And I think this year they're doing it in July. And so he played last year with a ton of bands. I think he's playing again this year, and they have Laura Jane Grace and oh God, who else do they have? Last year they had the Suicide Machines. This year they have We Are the Union. Like, they have a ton of bands. But anyway, so I have Black Guy Fox coming in for 4 days at the beginning of April, like right after Bitch Fest. Like, I get 3 days after Bitch Fest, and then I'm back on tour with Black Guy Fox. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other shows in April that are just local shows.
Yep.
Just going back to like regular scheduling. And then in May, I have 2 tours. One is they're both mini tours because that's all I really tend to do is mini tours. But I have the Bunch of Fucking Goofs going on a 3-day tour with a band called the Parasitics from the U.S.
Yeah.
And they're also going to be on tour with Unwanted Noise and CIDB. So all 3 of the dates are the Bunch of Fucking Goofs, the Parasitics, Unwanted Noise, and CIDB. But I'm hoping in St. Catharines, we're also going to have Iron Moose and Dirty Bird on the lineup. And then in Toronto, we have Sage DT on the lineup. And then in Montreal at the Foufall Electric, we have the Ruffians and High Anxiety joining them. So, and then at the end of May, I have the War Lovers coming through for 5 days to go on tour with my friend Luca and my really good friend Vestigio, who are like Latino punk band, like a hardcore punk band. They're really, really, really fucking good. And yeah, they're playing for 5 days. And then I have 2 tours in June with other U.S. bands. I have one on the 20th, the 21st, and the 22nd, and the 23rd with a band called Rotten Stitches. And I haven't finished confirming those lineups yet, but I have them for 4 days. And then I have 3 days with a U.S. band called Moose Knuckle. And then I have the Havoc from the U.S. coming in July.
Nice.
Doing a tour with Frauds from they're from Toronto as well.
Yep.
And then I'm doing a tour for Sage GT. And yeah, just a lot of tours.
Busy. Jeez.
Yeah.
You scheduled in breathing and changing and peeing, right?
I mean, breathing I usually forget to do anyways. So
we usually do that right after the show.
yeah, exactly. I will breathe maybe a little bit after Bitch Fest is done.
Well, at the very least, schedule in peeing. I promise it's a good thing.
especially after 4 kids, I kind of have to schedule
Well,
in.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I've only got half that, but when my bladder's ready and I'm not, it doesn't matter. And I don't care who knows that. I'm 40 at this point.
You know what? I'm 32 and straight up. I'll be in the pit and I'll look at my best friend and go, I just peed my pants a little, and then I'll go to the bathroom.
I did the trampoline park for my daughter's birthday a couple of years ago. I didn't know what I was in for, but did you know that they have panty liners in some of their bathrooms for that very reason?
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I feel like bars should do that for moms.
Well, I had no idea, honestly. I got on this trampoline and I was like, oh, this is fun. I got to go to the bathroom. Okay, I should run to the bathroom now. So, yeah, it was unexpected, but I mean, we're at that point, right? Like after a few kids, it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Even after one, you're like, fuck it.
Yeah.
You already lost your dignity giving birth anyways.
Right. I wasn't going to wait to lose my dignity. I get it. I picked mine up on the way out the door.
Yeah, me too.
Me, thanks. I'll just set it next to the granny panties that you put on me. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Well, I'm really happy to hear that you're doing fantastic. You have all kinds of things on the go. I was really looking forward to this interview. Like you and I have been on each other's Facebook for a little while, and all your stuff pops in my news feed. So I'm lucky enough to be able to see it all. So I share what I can. I mean, if I'm on the go, and I don't get the chance to, I can't. But Aura, stop, please. But anything that needs to be shared, anything you want a little promo done, you want me to do anything, whatever helps promote Witch Fest, I'm totally there for. You just let me know what I need to do, and I'm there for it. I absolutely support this event with everything I can. And if I can get out to make it to some shows, because I'm in Niagara Falls, I'm actually not too far from Camp Cataract, which Robbie just asked if one of the STMV shows is there.
Yeah, so I actually do have a show at Camp Cataract on April 6th.
Okay.
It's the world famous Tallboys. So I also manage / co-manage quite a few bands in the city, and I do a lot of exclusive bookings. So there's a lot of bands in the community that won't book with other promoters now.
Right.
They'll just book through me because I can get them shows in any city that they need to.
Yeah.
So I've kind of become like more of like a booking manager than an actual band manager. So I'm doing a little bit of both of those things with the world famous Tallboys. More so as like a learning experience because Doug is in the world famous Tallboys and he's the band manager for the Filthy Radicals. So he has a lot of experience. So being able to work with him and his band and learn how to manage bands has been great. Like, and the weird thing is that Doug was the one that approached me about it and was like, "Hey, like we should do this." And I was like, "Oh man, like I'm down for that." And he was like, "Yeah, I think that you'd be good at it. So like, I want to teach you." And I was like, "That's dope." And I love that people are doing that kind of stuff with me, where they're like, "Let me tell you about this thing because I think you should know it. Because if you know it, I think you're going to do it."
Well, and when we don't pass the torch, we don't get to carry on.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when we don't teach other people, how to do what we do, it doesn't keep the scene going. It stops. If you gatekeep shit, it stops at the point. And I can say Jillian Underhill is somebody that I've worked with. I've learned so much from her. And she is one of the women that is for other women, for other people, for everybody. Yeah. She wants everybody to win. And if I'm doing a show and you can benefit from that show, then I want you to be a part of that show. That's what type of woman she is. And that's a lot of, she was a lot of where I learned a lot of the stuff that I do, because I myself I more own, you know, my website and the book, and I do shows and stuff like that. I'm not a promoter, but if I get asked to do shows or I feel like putting together a show, I will. Bartending, I learned it all from her. Okay, I'm just gonna let you go and hope to God you don't need anything. Go, bye. You're not hooked anymore. See ya. Just don't eat my couch. So, yeah, no, I did. I learned a lot from her, and she was very much somebody who was like, when you gatekeep, you fuck things up.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
don't
Yeah.
gatekeep, or people don't. You know, people don't want to work with you when you don't want to teach them things, and when you don't want to learn from people. You got to be teachable as well as be able to teach people things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but to answer Robbie's question here, yes, Robbie, and you legit can't remember. You live with Jesse, bro.
I think you just got called out, buddy.
Yeah. If you want me to just do a shout out, yeah, Slightly Intoxicated is playing as well with Iron Moose. Yeah, with the world famous Cowboys at Camp Cataract on April 6th.
So Jesse and I used to work behind a bar together, and he had a piece of tape on his shirt one night, and I wrote "fuck this guy" with an arrow pointing up. Well, the next day I went and had it tattooed on my finger. So this is my Slightly Intoxicated tattoo. It says "fuck that guy," and it's for Jesse.
Hilarious.
And then I have a drumstick on the back of my arm that says "fuck cancer" for Alan, because I went to every show with Slightly Intoxicated for a little while. I've seen them 44 times.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, and then, well, I mean, COVID hit and we canceled the release party for Volume 2 of Sofa City, and Jesse went and did his thing with music, which was amazing. And I kind of sat back a little bit and grew Sofa City and took a bit of a break, and, you know, fucked around with being sick and stuff like that. And, you know, here we are doing way better than, I mean, I thought I'd do. But as far as the scene goes, even after COVID, which was bullshit, we are, and I say we as in like the whole music community, we are more alive and well than we've been in a long time.
Yeah, there's been a massive resurgence, and I think there's like such a need for community.
Yep.
And music is such a great way to find that because it's universal. Like, it really doesn't matter where you're from. Nope. Or who you are. If you like the music, you're there.
Yep.
And you end up liking the people most of the time that are there too, because you have common ground in your like for what you're watching and what you're listening to.
Yeah. Well, we're all there for the same reason. You know,
yeah.
We're either there to ride the rail or be the wall. You know, I'm either front row or I'm part of the wall of the pit. I'm usually 4 walls back, but you know, it's an experience. It's a lifestyle. My dog just chewed a hole through her leash. So, and it's a lifestyle, you know, whether it's metal or punk or folk or polka, or it doesn't matter. When music is your background, it just becomes your life. It becomes the way you do things. You know, you rotate around the bands or around the instrument or around the promoter or around the venue, and you see so many wonderful reoccurring faces. You see so many brand new faces. You see sometimes faces you don't ever want to see again.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of working in the industry, is it's different every single night, even if your job is the same.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I've had shows where I didn't know anybody who showed up.
Mm-hmm.
No one. I was like, holy shit, I don't know. How did you guys even know this show was happening? Yep. Who did I promote it to? Like, like what? How did you guys? But it's the bands. It's the bands. They bring out their friends, and every time you have a new band, you're bringing out new crowds. And to be able to mix that is amazing. Oh, did we freeze?
There we go.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, I just froze for a second. I heard everything you said though. So the stream
Oh,
didn't freeze. It was just me. So that's good.
cool. Yeah. No, it's great to be able to mix different crowds. Like even this Saturday, I have Dragged In, and Dragged In is a pretty well-known band in Toronto. They have great friends who come out to support all of their shows. And it was really strategic for me because they're such a good draw band and such a good band in general that obviously I wanted to book them. But then I also have Vestigio, and they're like I said earlier, they're like Latino punks. And so two of them are from uh, Colombia, and one of them is from Mexico. And yeah, they're the crowd that they bring out is like all of their friends, and again, all the Latino punks. So seeing these two groups of people that wouldn't often intermingle because they kind of stay within their own little pockets of the community,
Yep.
to see them interacting together is going to be really interesting for me because I feel like there's going to be a lot of connection there because of the music. Because they're all really great bands, and I don't feel like they would have really gotten a chance to play together if I didn't do it myself.
Yep.
So, but then I also have High Anxiety coming in, and that's a female and a Two Spirit led band, like a hardcore band.
Cool.
So it's such like a wide variety of different people. Wasted Age, they also have Latino punk in their band. So like just seeing the mix of people and the different cultures
Yep.
all mixing and seeing how they're like those, even though there's so many things that make them different, that there's so many things that make them the same. And I'm so glad to be able to give space to people where they can meet each other and like learn about those similarities with one another, and hopefully play together on other things that I don't book, so that I can maybe go and I don't have to be in professional mode. I can get loaded.
Yep. Every show I go to, I always say I'm going to be one of the crowd, and then I find myself introducing myself to the band at the end of the show. And it's like, no, tonight's not a work night. Tonight's not a work night. Hi, I'm Amanda. I own Sofa City Sounds.
And that's exactly it. It happens to me almost every time I walk into a venue now and there's a show happening. People know I'm there.
Yep.
And people are watching, and I have people come up to me and they're like, "Hey, you're with STMV," and I'm like, "Yeah, not a great time to talk to me though."
Yeah.
I'm like half in the bag, and I'm like, "You want a date? Message me."
We make shirts that say "Not on the clock."
Yeah.
Absolutely, we should have shirts that say "Not on the." I mean, I like doing what we do. We're always on the clock, but
Yeah.
like I like to have those times where I come out and I enjoy a show, and I'm not introducing myself because I'm booking an interview, or I'm heading out to a show, or I'm writing a profile, or which I love doing all of that because I get to do what I do, and I'm, like I said, one of the only, I think the only that does what I do. But it becomes, again, lifestyle. Lifestyle becomes your job, becomes your a part of you. And this becomes second nature eventually when you walk in a room and you're like, hey, hi, I'm so and so, and it becomes second nature.
And that's the thing, and the thing is too is that we become, doing what we do, we become our own brand, much like how bands do.
Yeah.
Like look at bands like Filthy Radical, they'll walk up and be super excited that there's Filthy Radicals, and they're just like a bunch of random dudes and Molly, and wonderful human beings, and very prominent members of the punk community. But to see people like get excited to meet them and be around them, it's hilarious sometimes. And it happens to us too, where people see us and they're excited to talk to you. And like sometimes it's hard to like not match their excitement and be like, holy shit, you become a recognizable face. And the thing is like there's some downfalls to it for sure. One of the things that I noticed promoting the shows, and I think I've pointed this out a few times, But one of the things that I noticed when I started promoting the shows was I would post my flyers for my shows.
Right.
And I would get like 15, 20 likes on it. You know, and it wasn't getting much traction. I would use like the at highlight, and it still wasn't getting that much traction. And then I started posting the flyers with a photo of myself next to them. And I started getting 75, 100, 150 likes on my post. And I was just like, okay, so people want to see the face of the person who's putting the show on. And it, in some ways, it's like, okay, cool. You know, I've become a face for that. But at the same time, it's like a little bit dehumanizing, where I'm like, you shouldn't have to see my face to want to see the band. I have nothing to do with the band.
Right. I agree with that. I agree with that. Absolutely. You know, it's great that it's great that our faces draw you there, but we're not who you're there to see. You know, it's the bands. The bands are who you're there to see, and
exactly.
You know, and it's good that it helps. You know, it is good that it helps.
Yeah.
But it's nice when they're going and they're liking and they're being a part of it because they want to be a part of it for the sake of it, not because of the brand behind the show, but because of the show itself. So it's absolutely terrible, and we are trying to change that, Robbie. That's why we do the things that we do.
Yeah, I mean, I think you had touched on it a little bit earlier and made a comment about some people in the community, like if there's like problems in the community or whatever, people tend to be like shy of things.
Yep.
But one thing that I noticed about the community is if we tried to cancel every single person who made like an inappropriate comment, then we wouldn't really have a scene. So really part of being a community is teaching each other to be better and like using those skills. Like you said, you have to be teachable. And sometimes being teachable means being progressive. And like, it's okay that my face is part of my brand. That's fine. But don't use that to think, like, don't take that in a way where I am trying to make it about myself. If it helps, then it helps, and I will do anything to help the band get traction. But don't, like you said, don't, like, about dick pics, like, people stop sending you dick pics. I will say it 1,000,000 times on my Facebook and ask people 1,000 times not to jump into my DMs and hit on me.
Yep. I saw that you posted that the other day.
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing. If you're going to hit on me and you're going to take up that much of my time, when I've already told you, like, hey, man, like, I'm not interested in that. Like, I'm here to work.
Yep.
And they persist. It's like, you know what? If you're going to take up this much of my time, pay me for it. Pay me for it. You think I'm that hot? Here, take some photos. Pay me for it and leave me alone.
Yeah, here's my e-transfer.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know what?
I totally get that. I do.
Yeah, and like, it's not to say that there aren't good people who like will message and like try to genuinely talk. Yeah, for sure, do that. But you know, don't be inappropriate.
No, be genuine from the start.
Yeah, and I do find that being female, I get a little bit more. I get more attention because I'm a female, but I also get more flack because I'm a female as well. So, you know, and just more assumptions are made. Yep. You know, even when I was working in film, like regularly, I worked in film. I still work in film, but I've been working in film for probably 13 years now.
Awesome.
And when I first started, I had a lot of people be like, "Whose dick did you suck to get here?" And I'm like, "Nobody." That's a weird assumption.
Yeah, I actually worked to get to where I am. I always say I don't eat where I eat, so people understand that I'm here to work.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And I feel like that's another reason why Bitch Fest is so important, because these people have been working so incredibly hard. All of these bands
Yep.
are insanely talented.
Yeah.
It was hard. It was so hard to even turn down bands because the majority of our submissions were just amazing.
Oh.
So it's great because we have so many bands, but you don't see them as much as you see like the great boys club bands, you know. So this is really important because a lot of the women who are in this community also work alternative lifestyles regularly as well. Not just in bands, but a lot of us have to make money, and sometimes we don't always have time to make money, and so people offer up alternative career paths,
Yeah.
like sex work, and then that gets intermingled with their bands, and people make it inappropriate for them, and so there's so many issues that come up when you're women in the community, whether people mean to or not. So having this many femme bands and so much feminine energy at the festival, even last year, I just felt it's such a more welcoming vibe when you walk into the room and you see that more than 50% of the room is women, because usually you'll walk into a venue for a show and 75-80% of the room are dudes, if not more.
Yeah.
You'll see maybe 5-10 women max. I went to a hardcore show. I threw a hardcore show, and there was 100 men and 4 women. And I was like, this is nuts. And I'm running the show, and as a woman, every single dude there I had men try to walk by me, not pay. I had other men push me around. I had the bands yelling at me. I was like, this is nuts.
Well, I think sometimes, like once we become our brand, people forget that we're people too. We're not just a brand. We're not just a symbol. We're not just this. We are fucking people too. At the end of the day, we are human beings. We have feelings. We have skin. We have guts and organs, just like you do, and we deserve the same type of respect, just as we should be giving that respect to people. It comes full circle. You give what you get, and you get what you give. Just to put that out there, you get what you give.
Yeah.
And if you're giving 110%, we're going to give it back to you. If you're giving us a load of shit, we're going to give it back to you, but tenfold.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of like important reasons why Bitch Fest is like so prominent for the community, and like such a good foundation for everybody to kind of meet every year.
Yep.
I really hope that next year we have new bands submit as well. Bands that didn't submit this year or last year. I really hope that we get more of a reach and we have more people want to come out.
Yeah.
Because I would love to keep growing the fest and even move it across to different places. And make it much more inclusive.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I certainly, as Sofa City Sounds, I certainly next year would like to get on it a little bit earlier. Now, I work for the music industry for free, and it's the fans that buy all my books, and that's what helps support what I do, so I can do the things I do. So this year I'm going to do what I can because I'm very late to the game. But next year I'd like to jump in early, and I'd like to press some promoting for you guys and some promos, and maybe set up like a month's worth of interviews with some of the bands. What we'll do is, instead of grabbing a full band, we'll grab a member from each band that is playing each venue, and around a table, and we'll shoot the shit and we'll chat that way, and we'll really bring the promotion to the table. So I mean, not to be insulting at all. Sorry, you guys have done a fucking amazing job with your advertising and promoting. But I have the utmost respect for what you guys are doing, and I would really love to be a part of it. So.
Yeah, we want everyone to be a part of it, and that's really the point. Is like, if like, especially the fact that you're a woman, like we want that. We want radio hosts and blog posters and and sound people and door people. Like, we really just want it to be all women, all working together to make it really big and really just get the word out that, like, this is who we are, and, like, we all stand in this together as a community. You know, and we're basically demanding our space back, you know, and demanding that we have equal amount of space, not just in March, but every month.
Yeah.
Well, you know, all the time.
We like it should be an equal space at all times anyway, and it shouldn't matter who we are at the end of the day, as long as we can all coincide comfortably. You know, I don't know what it's like inside your head. You don't know what it's like inside my head. And if you need to be who you are so that you're comfortable in your own skin, then I applaud that, because it takes a lot for some people to come out as who they really are, for lack of a better term. You know,
yeah.
And we don't live in an easy world right now. You know, we don't. It's supposed to be united we stand, no matter where we are. But unfortunately, there's quite a bit of division, and it seems like you're filling in the gaps that nobody is noticing needs to be filled. And you're creating a lot of noise and attention by doing that.
Yeah, I'm definitely, I will agree with that. I am making a lot of noise, and it's been a roller coaster, really. It's been a
Oh, you cut out there.
I've had really great experiences being the one that bridged those gaps. All right. We good?
There we go. Yeah, there we go. I just shut you up and turned you back on. We didn't miss anything, though. We got all the sound. Your sound stays, but we freeze here and there. So.
Yeah, but yeah, it's been really a ride, because, like, as much as I have been here to try to fill the gap and make the bridge. And there's a lot of different spaces where I've noticed it with a lot of the seasoned bands. They play the same lineups all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be insulting, but, like, I don't want to see Random Killing play with Gag Order and Armed and Hammered and Stand Against Fear and Everybody Loves Everybody. You know, these bands,
lineup.
They're all of these amazing bands, but every time I see them, they're playing together.
Yeah.
And I would really like to be able to put those bands on lineups with younger bands, and that's something that I've already started to kind of plan out this year. Is I'm keeping a lot of those seasoned bands away from each other as much as I can. I'm like, you know what? You don't get to play with your friends. Not on this show. You're going to play with these 3 bands. 2 of them are female bands, and one of them is a younger punk band. You know, of dudes. So, like a dude band. So, you know, like, I have Ripcords in October, and I was like, I'm going to put them with some younger bands that they've probably never played with before.
Yeah.
And it'll turn up, and you'll see all the seasoned folks come out, because everybody does for Ripcords.
Yep.
So you'll see it. You'll see that gap where these people are hanging out, and they're in the same venue, and there's that connectivity between them. That is the music. And yeah, I really have been making a lot of noise. And some people like that. Some people are here to amplify that noise that I'm making, and support it. And they stand behind me, and they'll be like, say that louder for the people in the back. But then I have some people who are like, maybe you should just not say anything at all. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm going to keep being loud, because if you're going to silence me, then I'm going to keep being loud. I'm just going to be louder.
You're telling me to shut up. I must be making a difference.
Exactly. You know, and I've also seen people bring my name into things that I'm not even involved in, just for cred. And I'm like, I don't want to be used that way. I don't want to be a pawn in your cred game. This isn't an episode of South Park, friend.
I love that show. That's certainly not where we're at right now. So
yeah, they're one of their newest episodes is about cred. It's like a drink. Definitely watch it later tonight,
Oh, I
and
can't wait.
you'll know exactly
Love
the
South
reference
Park.
I'm making right now.
I do. I love South Park. I do. They're
Yeah, I,
fantastic.
I love the satire of South Park. It's hilarious.
Me too. I think it's important that we be able to laugh at ourselves. Because, like, I mean, we're one fucked up species, man. If we can't laugh at ourselves, we're screwed.
I mean, all of us, like you said earlier, we don't get a lot of room to be human, and I think a lot of people don't get that because it's a hilarious episode, Robbie.
Awesome.
I don't think that a lot of people get that. Wow, my brain. I just ADHD so hard because Robbie made a.
I watched that thought fall off the cliff.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, honey, I can't even tell you where you were at.
Yeah, such an ADHD moment because I started thinking about South Park.
Right? I followed you. Just so you're aware, I followed you.
Yeah.
You went on that PhD venture alone.
Yeah, no, there we go. I think that a lot of people do forget that we're human and that we make mistakes, and that things just happen. Like like I said, my back is fucked. I found out like a week ago that I have 2 herniated discs in my spine, and I was just like, oh, that's great. Well, that explains the constant pain in my back.
Yeah.
But then I also love being in the pit. So the doctor's like sitting there and she's just like, if you get hit in the back and you're herniated disc, you could be paralyzed. And I'm like, not going to stop me from being in the pit.
Well, we live every day and we only die once. Unless you're me, then you get to die twice. And I'm living the dream after 2 massive heart attacks. So I get it, girl. I can't go in the pit anymore because of brain damage. But every once in a while, I just admit the fact that I have it and I fucking head right in. So I get it.
And
I understand.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Yeah, it's so like there is room for people to be human, and like I find that my biggest strength with the community is the fact that when I tell them I fucked up, like I'm very open with my bands where I'm like, listen, this happened, I got fucked up, and I have to either switch this date, cancel it, or we've got to find somebody to help. And most of the time, people are like, holy shit, dude, thanks for being honest. Let me figure out what I can do to help. And people want to help. People, and that's exactly it. Is people want to be there. And as long as you're honest with everybody and you're clear and, you're giving everybody notice, then, it happens. Then every once in a while, too, I forget to tell a band something. And then I'm like, holy fuck, that's my bad. And sometimes people react so poorly to it. They're like, I'm never working with you again. But then other people are like, nah, dude, like you're human. Like shit happens.
Yeah.
I had apparently a couple months ago, I had a venue date at a bar called Bar Orwell in Toronto.
Okay.
And when I switched over my calendar, I just completely forgot to put it in the calendar, and then they completely forgot to email me to remind me. So between the two of us, there was a show and there was no show because I didn't book it because I didn't know that I had the date because it wasn't in my calendar. And then so they emailed me and I was like, holy shit, I'm so sorry. And we had a conversation. He was like, it's okay, man, my cat died. And I was like, oh my God. So we both were like, fuck, we both fucked up. And he was like, okay, well, like, let's fix this. And then we did. We were able to figure it out and amend it, and now like I have my other shows there, and they're in my calendar now. So I own some pretty dope shows, but yeah, shit fucking happens, man. Like things come up. We're human beings. There's only so much we can do. There's only so much that one person can handle. Like I'm one person. And like I'm booking six 5-day tours right now. Shit's gonna happen.
Not to mention a notorious festival. I mean, I know you have partners, but I mean, you're one person. And I'm just going to click you on and off because you're frozen again, girl. Why aren't you? Oh, there you are. Are you moving? kind of.
I am.
You're a little, but we can still hear you. So, and
Yeah.
you're frozen in a good spot. Your face doesn't look funny or anything.
Don't.
I always get frozen at a ridiculous spot. It's bedtime for you. Stop barking at me. Come here. Come sit. So, well, my bra's off to you, girl. You have done some fucking amazing things, and you're doing amazing things. And I don't know how you get the energy, but I'll take some. I'll purchase it, even. You know, if you came in the form of merch, I would buy it all. So
I mean, I feel like you know, I have been running out of energy for a while, but I refuel myself, and I remember that I am human and I have to take care of myself too. So, you know, I eat well. As much as I'm doing, I have to eat well. I take my vitamins. I take my regular medication. I spend time with my kids, and I will go and take a 3-hour bath and smoke a joint in the bathtub if I want to relax, because I can. And
that's
sometimes we have.
Before I popped in to see you, I laid in the bathtub for an hour, and then I took the dog out, and here we are.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, exactly.
I get the most work done in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Because there's no dog, no kids, no noise, no nothing. It's just me and the phone and a couple of candles and some bubbles and maybe a couple of edibles and, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, just like take it as easy as you can. And I do remind myself to stop and do that. So, and I feel like that's really important. We still have to like take those small moments for ourselves.
Yeah.
And you know, I advocate for that. Even with bands, last year I think we had one of the bands drop off, and because they were having like a mental health crisis, and we were like, yeah, dude, like do your thing, no worries.
Your brain's important.
Later. Yeah, exactly. You know, prioritize.
I'm missing 22% of mine. Well, 22% of mine is fuzzy, so I understand, man. Rest is important. You know, especially when we want to play the game as hard as we do. And again, you know, not to push it, but being female, we do play a little bit harder than everybody else does. I don't know why. You know, it's something to prove in this game. Not that we have anything to prove to anybody. But we do push hard. We play hard. We work hard. We cry hard. You know, at the end of the day, we're like we keep saying, we're only fucking human.
Yeah.
So, and I think that you guys putting this festival together and showcasing everybody. I think, you know, I think it's wonderful. I think it's absolutely wonderful. And like I said, my bra's off to you, girl. I think it's fucking amazing what you're doing. I do.
Thank you.
And whatever I can do to help, just let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said earlier, huge shout out to my business partner, Ashley, because like she really did lay down such a good foundation for us to be able to build this into something really great. And this year is going to be fucking badass. So
maybe maybe a night or two before the kickoff, which I know is coming up very soon. If Ashley wants to, maybe we can have the two of you on live for a half an hour promoting the festival and getting ready to kick it off and stuff. We'll set aside a special night that's not a Thursday because I'm booked right through till May. But we will absolutely put something together, and then I'll get my daughter to throw some small promos together, and we'll just shove them in every group and on every Facebook page and keep pushing everything that you guys have already done so gracefully. So thank you so much for coming on and telling us everything that's going on. And you're so diverse, man. I love it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Welcome. You're welcome. No, I do. I love it. You got a fantastic personality, and I appreciate that. It makes these shows way easier. And you're the people I want to work with. You know, I find being a woman in the industry, sometimes we are our own enemy. And it's so nice when I meet other women that are like, fuck yeah, let's do this. And they really have the same heart that you do. You know, they're not in it because their boyfriend's in a band or because they work behind a bar or whatever. They're in it because it's the love of the game. This is what we want to do, where we want to be. So
yeah, I mean, I make my favorite joke of all is especially when I get like condescending comments like that. When if somebody like I've had people come up to me and be like, so which band is your boyfriend in? Why do you do this? And I'll be like, my boyfriend My boyfriend's every dude in every band.
That's right.
I'm dating all of them. What do you mean? I'm in a relationship with every single one of these men.
Yeah, because I don't think I've ever broken up with a band I've worked with yet.
Exactly.
So, well, on that note, we have tipped over 10 extra minutes, and I could talk to you all night long. But, we very much are moms, and we do need to do that breathing thing. And I could probably pee. My bladder's about ready. And there's a dude on the porch. So, I can't thank you enough. And we definitely have to do this again. I would love to have you on every 6 months or so. On top of, the next couple of weeks. But I'd love to chat with you every 6 months and keep you on regular. And when we finish the live, I'm going to get rid of everybody else, but I'm going to keep you here for a minute because I have a couple of things I want to chat with you about. Oh, I think you're frozen, girl. Are we back? Are we still frozen? Oh, she's frozen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try and pull her back again. Oh, she's gone. No video feed. She might be back. Oh, is she coming back? I mean, I know you guys listen to me talk anyway, but it's much more fun when I have a guest. Well, I'm not sure if she's going to make it back on or not. So I'm going to close off the evening with letting you guys... Oh, wait. Maybe not. Are we back? No, we have no network connection. She's a 2 out of 10. She's a 10 out of 10. Oh, we see you. Can we hear you? Oh, I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you. Hang on a second. Can you hear me now? I can't hear you. I can't hear you at all, which means nobody else can hear you. Fuck! All right. Well, you hang on backstage for a second, and we're going to try and figure this out. And I'm going to kick everybody else out. It was a fantastic fucking show. Thank you again, Lexi, for coming on. Next week, we have a birthday show for myself and, Kurt Smythe from Cryophilic. He will be here. I believe Ben will be here. Hopefully we'll get lucky and have a few other members. We're going to do some hot sauce, some cake, some trivia questions. Should be a good time. So on that note, bye guys.